Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hindsight, where we see bad situations that can be avoided by good reasoning. But sometimes a situation is unavoidable and self defense is needed to get you to safety.
And we're back, folks, with some more Monday night quarterbacking from the guys at Hindsight. You know what it is. You know what we do with this show. We ain't got to tell you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. This is what it is. All right. So right now, right now, we're gonna go on in this situation. We got here by way of Bronx, New York. We've got Helen Hernandez, 33 years old, a mother of 3. All children are under 17 years old. Was found unconscious at her Anderson apartment building when her teenage son found her. EMS arrived and attempted to revive her, and they found rosary beads down her throat. Later on, Hernandez passed away at Lincoln Medical Center. So, a person of interest in the investigation was seen leaving the building earlier, and I think this was like around, 5:30 p.m. or so, or earlier than that. And, this guy was naked, and the authorities got him at Jerome Avenue and 167th Street. This man was walking, talking to himself, saying she's with God now, and shouting about the devil. And so this man, was Hernandez's former boyfriend. Martha Carrasquillo. Well, Suave is gonna have to pronounce this last name. I can't quite get it. Martha Carrasquillo was the aunt of Hernandez's boyfriend. He's the father of all 3 of Hernandez's children. They dated on and off for 20 years, but this isn't the man that was arrested for running naked in the streets and possible murder suspect. So he says, the couple were seeing each other for a minute now. Basically, they've been dating for a while. And he also said that her family was trying to keep him away from her. Basically, trying to keep this alleged psychopath away from her. So he says he doesn't know what happened, but he believes that drugs were involved. And, this is, you usually see this with LSD or Flocka or something to that effect. The law enforcement, good law enforcement officers who got the naked man says that they believe that he also may have been on drugs. But he has 42 prior arrests. Hernandez's 3 children are now with their father. He's taking care of the babies now. That's what we got.
What in the hell? What in the hell is this? All right, so this is crazy, man. The name you're trying to pronounce. Well, shit, if I can even pronounce my damn self. It's Carrasquillo. That's the best, but that's the best I can assume that how it goes.
Okay.
Martha Carrasquillo. And that's what I'm gonna go with. But it's a little confusing because she is the aunt of Hernandez's boyfriend. So is the guy who's naked her boyfriend, or is the boyfriend the one who fathered the children? That was a little confusing to me how they wrote it. Oh, they wrote it up.
Right.
Am I reading that right? Or clarify that for me.
Clarify
that for the viewers, please.
Yes, sir. The gentleman the gentleman who has alleged to murder Miss Hernandez, he is not the father of the children. And this is the thing, because they should have given the name of the murder suspect.
Yes, they should have.
They should have, so that could make the story a lot clearer. But the author Carrasquillo, her nephew, is the father of those 3 children. So at one point in Hernandez's life, and even to the day where she unfortunately passed away and was murdered, allegedly by the naked running man,
right,
she had stability in her life because all 3 of her children was by one man who was coming over to see her children. And I'll just leave that at that, and Mr. Suave can be taken.
All right. That's good. Appreciate the assist right there. Had to toss up the alley and you had to finish it off for me. There we go. That's how we do on the hindsight. All right, so So this is it's unfortunate, man, because when you're dealing with somebody who is mental like this, they have another level of strength when they're on narcotics or opiates or any type of drug like that. They're on another level of strength. Even at times they don't feel any pain. So you're seeing how they apprehended him. They had to go to the taser effect. I'm pretty sure the body cams will come out later if they release him. They probably will. But whatever. But the man is running around town naked. If allegedly this is supposedly the same guy who committed the absurd crime, the murder of Miss Hernandez, and they had to do what they had to do to restrain him. He, like I said, law enforcement, in my experiences, and you dealing with somebody like that, you don't know. You have to assume the worst, because there's really no reasoning. It's really hard to reason or to even try to break through what they're seeing in their mind, what they're seeing you as, who they even see you as. You may be someone else. You may be doing something that may trigger them, and they think you're a demon, or they think you're a parent that they hated, or it goes so more complex to the knowledge and expertise of what I know, because that's not my specialty. But just from experiences, that dealing with individuals in that capacity is kind of want to stay away from. It's best that get law enforcement involved, and hopefully they can handle that situation there like they did, without killing the man. Because now hopefully we can get some answers when they put him in the right state of frame with the right medication, or let him sweat out whatever the hell he's on, and he could finally realize what the hell he did. If in fact that is the man who killed Miss Hernandez, which they think. So Miss Hernandez, like Brother Buddha said, she had some type of relationship with the father of her 3 children, because she had 3 kids by the dude, whether they were on and off for 20 years. They still made that decision to be on and off with 3 children for 20 years, and these kids and teens. So, there was something there. So, we don't know the inner deep workings of the relationship, but maybe that's, I don't know why, they're trying to keep her away from this dude. What was Miss Hernandez involved in that she couldn't break from this dude? Was she part of the drugs that the gentleman who remains nameless for some reason, even though he got 42 priors, was she dealing in the same things that he was dealing with? And I mean, if the father of her children was involved in life like his aunt says he is, he should have been more involved in making sure, hey, this is the type of dude you're dealing with around my kids. I'll take these kids. We need to work something out, because this, how you are with this dude, that's not okay. Because this dude, the way he murdered her was on that psychotic sociopath. I'm speaking to 13 voices in my head, and he's going to say, God told me to stuff these beads in her throat so she could be saved type shit. You know what I mean? And he's going to plead insanity, most likely. And it's crazy. Now, this would be a perfect case of, if she wasn't, when they go further into the details and do blood toxicity of her blood levels, and see if she was even on any narcotics herself, anything like that. If she wasn't, she could have had some type of defensive tactics to try to subdue this dude. And were the teenagers home? Did they come home to find her? Were any of the kids home when this happened? They're not saying much about it. They just say just one of the teenage sons found her unconscious. So I'm assuming all the kids was outside. They were in school, maybe. Did any of them witness it? Did they see it? Were they just hiding? If that's the case, it could have been, they all could have ganged up on this dude and tried to save the mother's life. If they were actually in the apartment, she could have, depending on what he did, she had bruises around her throat and neck. So he was choking her. I'm just thinking, if he's on top of her, using I believe it's jujitsu. You just try. I would say maybe like a triangle choke, maybe. If you could get your, women are a lot more flexible naturally than men are. Try to get a triangle choke. Try to get that, cut his pressure off so he can go to sleep. He could go night-night. and you might be able to get some breakfast. You still have enough energy, maybe a couple eye pokes, elbows to the head, get that blood gushing, even though that blood gushing probably wouldn't have done anything to him if he was so highly medicated. But stopping his breath will do a lot to him. Cutting his oxygen will do a lot to him. Punching him to one of them vital organs like the eyes and the throat might do something to him. So I'm just thinking of defense tactics. What could she have done? With the details that they're giving us, what could she have done? Maybe she could have reached for a bottle or a chancleta. I don't know. Something to start hitting this dude, trying to create some space, or try to get out that apartment and hide and run, call for help. And she's in the apartment complex. How is nobody? This had to be a struggle. Unless she was sleeping and he choked her out. Like I said, they're not giving enough details. Because if she wasn't sleeping, there had to be a struggle. Neighbors had to hear this. So people saying they wanted to keep her away. So was there a history of abuse here? What did the neighbors know that we don't know? What did the neighbors allow if they knew she was getting abused by this dude? You know what I'm saying? So it goes on to what kind of neighbors do you have if that was the case? And that's just another angle of it that I'm thinking of it. And man, it's just unfortunate because now these three kids who all they knew was their mother, who's the dominant caretaker, even though the dad was around. Now they got to live with daddy, and now he got to say, hey, old buddy took your mom's life, unfortunately. And that's as a parent, and if you was a single parent and you're dating, you really got to be careful who you bring your children around. So now they're always going to know this is the man that killed my mother. This was the man who maybe, like I said, we didn't like him. We thought something was funny about him. And they might even harbor that and take them to themselves like, man, maybe I could have done something if I would have said something sooner to the right people, So they might take that to them. So that's not even a whole nother unfortunate event that the kids got to take on for the rest of their lives. You know what I'm saying? So this is just a crazy, unfortunate situation, man. And like I said, I gave a few martial arts or defensive tactics I think can happen if that's even what was going on in that situation. But this dude who remains unnamed, he's not even in his right state of mind, and those dudes are very dangerous, very, very disturbed, very troubled individuals, and they could be a handful in the streets and within them bars. Sensei Buddha.
Oh, yeah. Gentlemen, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with both of you about this. The thing here, in my humble opinion, is when they keep a gentleman anonymous with 42 prior arrests, I think this gentleman is as crazy as a fox. I think personally that he said, you know what? I'm going to murder this woman. I'm going to come out here into the streets. I'm going to be naked, and I'm going to go with the crazy man plea. There is no way on earth that a person like this with 42 arrests, this is what he does. He gets arrested. He is in trouble. He is in problems. And it's really sad because Martha Carrasquillo, she was always talking about how, she considered Miss Hernandez like her niece. And I hate to say it, but, I really don't like to hear how family members will say, I consider you this, I consider you that, but you don't do enough to protect the kids. Now, the father, Carrasquillo's nephew, who was the father, it's not about playing the blame game, but as a father, an active father in the lives of the children, you must secure a proper environment for your children. When you're with your woman, or the woman is with her man, there's certain rules that you have to agree about what you or who you're going to let around the damn children. You have to have certain kind of rules and say, hey man, if I feel a certain way about an individual, they can't come around the children. If you're getting arrested 42 times, I really would like to know this man's age. That means that this guy's definitely getting arrested 2-3 times a year. He's doing something in those streets that he should not be doing. Is he also on mental medications, or he's just somebody, as I said before, just acting crazy, playing the role because he don't care. He's off the rails, man. Yeah, he don't care. You get people, as the saying goes, you get people who think outside the box. Any woman or man who is comfortable with being arrested 42 times, they're going to be thinking in a way of how to work that the system work for them. They're going to understand it at levels that you and I could never, ever understand it. And they're going to say, you know what? I got to do this. I got to streak naked in the streets. I got to move naked in the streets. I got to kill somebody. I got to come out of a building naked. This person's a very bad dude. And when you're talking self-defense tactics, now you're talking about subduing a maniac. And that woman, I mean, again, the best defense, there's no way in hell a person like this can hide the fact that he has a pathological behavior and affinity for violence to do what it is that he did. I don't know at what point Hernandez was at a low point in her life, because she's a very pretty woman. So I don't know how she got involved with this guy. They leave these types of very important details out of the story, so you can't get a much more clearer picture, or you can't understand and say, hey, was she into drugs herself? Or did this guy, was it that he was saying for her, doing for her? What did he work as? And how can the father allow that to be around his children? You got to G-check these fools out here, man. Even if it's to the point where I say you have to take matters into your own hands. These are your children. That is the mother of your children. And if these people hurt these most precious gems of your life, you cannot get them back. And again, self-defense was definitely needed here. Mrs. Suave laid it out. Eye gouges, taking away the 5 cents, smashing the nose. Eye gouges, ear smacks, throat gouging, throat tearing. Something very violent and vicious, because you're dealing with such a level of malevolence. I'd really like to see those 42 arrests and what those charges were. This is a violent person. This kind of person can't hide that. This is who he is. This is who he is. And when they hide these names, that's very suspect right there. This person, when you're hiding their name, that's telling me that this guy is probably very well known in many court systems throughout the city. Were some of those convictions in other states, or was that all in New York City? I mean, they really got to start. I mean, the report is sufficient enough to know that we're dealing with somebody who's very emotionally and mentally unstable. But more detail, greater detail is needed here. Where did he live? How did he grow up? Were his arrests in other states? Were some of these arrests, was he a sex offender? These are things, were the bulk of them felonies? Was it assault? Was it robbery? You can't hide these things. You can't hide these things. Just like when we covered that story from the couple that was in Brooklyn, with a lady, she likes to use her knife and she slashed her boyfriend's neck. She was known for taking a weapon, a knife, and stabbing her former lovers. So I would, hope we can find some more details and dig it up, and we can get some names, and we can get the name of this fella, and be like, hey, what is this guy really, really about? Very, very interesting, very sad story. I'm very glad that the children were safe. I wish the mother could have been safe, and I wish the father and Miss Carrasquillo would have taken a more active role to secure the entire family and keep this fella away from the family. We don't know if the father took out a court order or not. Was he even aware that this man was dating the Miss Hernandez? You see, these things are being left out, and there's greater detail that needs to be delivered here by the story writers. But then again, you may never know. They may tell them, because of them going to trial, that would skew the view of this individual in the public eye, which means that he's a very bad man, and he has his reputation of doing this type of malevolence. Gentlemen?
So, yeah, I gotta go back to what Mr. Suave had said in previous podcasts about dealing with people you don't know. And he had said that, $30, if you could spend $30 on a bottle of liquor, then, you could spend $30 on a background check. And those 42 arrests would have came up, and that's your due diligence right there, And then you say, okay, this person's crazy. I really can't mess with them. I've got kids, so I'm going to stay over here. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, Sensei Buddha, your kids, once you have them, are your number one priority. So you got to keep the crazies away, and you got to keep the threats as a minimum. You don't have to keep them in a bubble, but ultimately it's your responsibility as a parent to keep your children safe and to protect your family. And, that's really what we are about here at Hindsight. We want the listeners to take, heed from what we say and use that to protect their loved ones as well as themselves.
I completely agree with that.
I got some nuggets I just found. Just give me about 2 minutes. I'm reading, and it's conducive to this article. So, fellas, keep talking.
Gotcha.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. We're going to have to put the number of where you can do criminal background checks. That has to be in the description box for this particular episode. And we can even update and put all these things where you got rape prevention, crisis, and counseling. But most importantly, where you can go to get these criminal background checks. In New York City, you have a hotline number that's 311. And when you call that, they can give you any type of resource number here in New York City. Again, that number is 311. We're talking about for even seeking like a lawyer, for seeking city officials for like if your building is not up to standard or you feel that you're being treated or being mistreated by a landlord. The 311 number usually can come into play here in New York City. They most definitely have rape prevention crisis hotlines, and I'm more than sure that they will have the number for anything dealing with a situation like this as far as background checking. You may suspect have criminal records, and definitely for sex offenders. We're going to go ahead and take it to another. We're going to get the numbers directly, the concurrent numbers, and we're going to list them in the description box for this episode.
Sound good.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys done your thoughts? I'll bring you up to speed on what I just was researching while we was conversing on the article.
Yeah, educate us, please.
Good way, Mr.
So the gentleman's name is Pierre Jones. So one source did find his name. And this is what sources are saying. They got a picture of the gentleman. His name is Pierre Jones. They're questioning his boyfriend. He looks like Orlando Brown, who used to be on Oh So Raven. He looks very similar to that dude. He's not that dude, but he looks very similar to that dude. I'm looking at the picture right now. He's 34 years old. 34 years old. He was taken to the Bronx Lebanon Hospital for psychological evaluation, and he was caught on the street where the naked man was running. He got a little bit of his prior arrest. So, it's starting to add up like this may be that guy. He's been arrested. This article says he was arrested 41 times since 2002, where he was handcuffed for stalking in Manhattan. He's been arrested for theft of assault, service harassment, criminal contempt, disorderly conduct, and petty larceny. He was convicted in 2003 for a Bronx robbery and spent the next 6 years behind bars, prison record shows. But the circumstances of that crime weren't immediately clear. His most recent arrest was on December 8th. He was arrested for trying to shoplift 3 toys and stationery worth $77.79 from Target. Prosecutor said he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to his time served, the official said, probably just in the county jail. So that is what I was able to pull up on this article from another source. And it seems pretty accurate to fill in the holes of what we was trying to find out who the dude was.
Yeah, he's got a rap sheet a mile long, yeah. 34
is so young to have 42 convictions. Well, for this article, 41 convictions. That's crazy. That means every day this man is in problems, man. There's no way that Miss Hernandez could not have understood this man's history. It's impossible. This dude is a tree. He's crazy.
He's a bum.
Yes.
And a low life. And it's unfortunate what he was allowed to do.
This is where, as fathers, uncles, caring aunts, and other extended family friends, you have to be up in your martial arts, your firearms game, your knife self-defense, because there's maniacs out here. And any one of us can unfortunately become weak for an individual. Hey, me being a single man, I could fall for a female who might be a little crazy. And before I understand what the hell's going on, I'm in a world of hurt.
Brother Beat Physicist has the clarity on that, I tell you.
Gentlemen, brothers, y'all can go ahead. Feel free to break that down. But this guy is screaming crazy. That kind of a personality is very unstable.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to come off cool and mild-mannered. Going to jail for 6 years. He ain't going to be having no job. Who's going to hire him? That's felony time. You do it 6 years? And he's 34? That means that he went in jail. I mean, that means 28 years of his life he's known freedom. Out of 34. 28 years he's known freedom. No, I'm sorry. He's a complete lunatic. What is it that this man is doing that would attract any woman with a nickel's worth of common sense and with 3 children, bills to pay, children to raise, and things to do? And the woman, Miss Hernandez, was obviously stable at one point because she has consistently dealt with the father of her 3 children, all by one man, for over. The relationship was over 20 years. The oldest teenager was 17 years old. So they at least knew their father in their life. But the father, hey, man, I can understand. This is a maniac. This dude is a beast. But you're going to have to step up to deal with it and put your children in safety. This is terrible. It's crazy. And I wonder if any of those charges are sexual. I'm talking about like child molestation, any of that type of stuff. Rape. How many states did he live in? I would really like to know that. Or is that all New York? If that's all in one state of New York State area, this dude every other day, every other week, he's in some kind of trouble. That's crazy. It's crazy. So definitely, not only is martial arts needed, you need to learn firearms. And it's so sad when you deal with a person so close in your cipher, in your circle, that if you're a martial arts person, he's going to eventually find that out. Because he's living with you. He has plans to do vicious, evil things to you. So prevention, if at all possible, especially when they're screaming with 42 convictions or 41 arrests, 6 years in jail. I'm sorry, people, that's not normal. All of us got that crazy friend who likes to turn up, but never to a intent.
Oh, shoot. That sounded subliminal.
Hey, man. All of us can be, any one of us can be rowdy. We like to sing in a bar. Like when we go, we do karaoke and we want to, just rock out. But now we're talking about assaulting, pushing, hitting people, going into petty larceny, going into Target and stealing toys. No, man. You don't do that. You, if anything, you go to Target, ask them for a job, and you could put some of those toys on layaway or something. Just get them outright. You don't do weird, crazy stuff like that when you're dealing with children.
Or how about this? You go get a job at Target, buy them at a discount, and quit. Damn, nigga.
Yes. Yes. Come in there for holiday help. These stores always do a holiday help. It starts in the autumn. It starts in October. You work through Thanksgiving, Christmas, January, and you save up a little money from that, buy those toys, buy those clothes, whatever it is you're going to do, and then keep it moving. But with his record, there's no way he held a job. I'm going to tell you, when I was young, because I'm going to be 50 next year, when I was a young man, I was always working 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, long hours. I was always working. I just can't see it. Somebody will have to step forward and explain something to me, because this is just too young of a fella He should be wanting to, get himself a job. Or how did he grow up? What was antagonizing or eating away at him? And this is not I mean, if you got somebody with such deep-rooted, disturbing behavior like this is a person who is not a candidate for an interpersonal relationship, especially with dealing with somebody else's children. Those kids were at complete, utter risk. And the mother was just the only one who, unfortunately, got killed in this crazy man's wake.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, it's like I was saying earlier, and like you were saying, man, unfortunately, thank goodness, but unfortunately, it was only one person who had to reach the end.
Yes.
It could have been the kids also, easily could have been the kids.
Yes.
Would have found 4 bodies with rosaries in their throat. Who knows?
Oh,
my thing is, if parents who co-parent, that aspect, which is, it's real life, should that ever happen to any of us guys who have kids or not kids, as co-parenting, when if your significant other or who used to be a significant other brings someone they feel who is important in their life going to be around your child, you not only G-check your nigga, but you spend that $30 and check up on the person, male or female.
Yes.
You might not stalk him, but you might need to go hang out with him and see what he really about one night. Let him get drunk and see how loose he gets and see what he's really doing, because that's what behavior he's doing along with you is what he's going to be doing at home with the kids and the mothers and children, and that you need to know.
That is a phenomenal point that you just brought up, Mr. Suave. You're going to have to hang out with him because, in this case, the man is married into the family, even though he's not physically married. You've got to be aware of who's around him. You've got to vet these people. You've got to come and check them out. You've got to see who his friends are. And to me, with $30, that's going to explain to me that this man has had over 41 arrests? Come on, G. Nah.
Well, I'll admit to you, man. Some people call it the power of the deed. Just call it the power of maybe someone's at a low point in their life and they think they can't do any better. Or hell, some people even believe it's not that they're being controlled by powers that are beyond our understanding as far as voodoo and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But whatever the case may be, sometimes you do bring these facts into light and people still choose to ignore it. And that's what's crazy. You got facts. Facts are facts all day, every day. They don't change. Facts are facts. The hard cold facts in the public record, in truth, in your face is what it is. And some people just still ignore it. And that's the sad part is, sometimes even when you go that extra mile, people will still ignore it, thinking they can change this person, thinking that was a past person, past life. It's another unfortunate end of it too, man.
You're 1,000,000% correct. But with 41 criminal convictions, and
he probably thought his time was done.
Yes.
If she even knew.
I would really need them to go into Miss Hernandez's mental profile, brother, because I just need to know. This guy, all he did was just go to jail. It's crazy. And this is a great telling of a tragic tale, because as we say, hindsight is 20/20, which can give us the and to anchor us in and say, look, I maybe should I want to do this, that, and the third with this person. Wait a minute. I got people involved here. I got children involved here. I have an elderly aunt who lives with me. You can't just put anybody around your people, man. It's not about being an elitist. It's not about trying to say I'm better than somebody. You just don't want that kind of drama at your door. It's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Signing off. We got a Twitter feed. E, if you can't find us to get this podcast, and I guess it's time for that disclaimer, Mrs. Suave.
Go kill yourself. Oh, that was a joke. But like I say, all things that we say here are for entertainment purposes only, our views and our views alone. And for the trolls out there, we always do like to say, we love you, we need you, we miss you. And when we do our sign-off call, we love to hear you. And we do have a calling for you. So fellas, when you're ready to say, wrap it up, we'll send out the troll call.
I think I'm ready to.